Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Overwatch Weekly. Got a few stories for you, I believe 5, so we're just going to jump right into the first one, which is a PTR patch note. This comes from December 14th. This comes from obviously last Thursday. And it's interesting, or last Friday, actually, not last Thursday, last Friday. Not a lot of new stuff. A lot of bug fixes. Ash, Brigitte, Reinhardt, Torbjorn, Winston had some changes. Some changes to Busan, Hollywood, Kings Row, and a little arcade change for bug fixes. But the main thing that it added in terms of actual new content is the Overwatch League skins for the expansion teams. So the Atlanta Reign, the Chengdu Hunters, the Guangzhou Charge, Hangzhou Spark, Paris Eternal, Toronto Defiant, Vancouver Titans, and Washington Justice all got their skins added to the PTR. So if you want to check those out, they are available on the PTR right now to check out. So that's the first story. The second story I got for you is a little short one as well. Yesterday, the Overwatch YouTube channel and Twitter account released a little short video called Cookie Watch. It's very similar to the anniversary video that they did with the animated little figurines of Tracer and Reaper. So if you want to check that out, it's in the description. It's interesting. So if you wanna see it, if you want to be entertained for a little bit, it's like a minute 45, something like that. So it's short, but it's linked in the description. Next, we have a story about Doomfist. There is a post from August 14th as well, by a user named Cream, and it's about well, I'll tell you, the name of it is Doomfist Bug Report. We've had enough of the 40+ bugs. And the post features a video, but I'm not going to show it, obviously, because it's another person's video. But he opens up the post by saying, "We all know Doomfist is severely buggy, and we've known this for approximately 9+ months now, and unfortunately a lot of his major bugs still have not been fixed. Through the combined efforts of the Doomfist mains of Overwatch, we've compiled a video of all of Doomfist's bugs, both major and minor, into a video." So, there was a response to this post by none other than Tom Powers, and he went into full detail on a bunch of these bugs, as noted by a bunch of the game, designers and developers and whatnot. Some of them are bugs, some of them aren't bugs. If you're interested in checking out the whole thing, the video, and some of the reports on it, it's obviously, it doesn't really matter what I say about it. Like, I could tell you that bugs 1, 2, and 3 for Slam, he has still working on getting the new Shatter technology validated. If it succeeds, we'll proceed to implement these updates for Doomfist. Doesn't really mean anything if you don't know what you saw. Some things aren't bugs, some of them are, so some are bugs, some aren't bugs. It's kind of interesting, but it's a very good post. It's a long post by Tom Powers. It's very good. So if you're a Doomfist player, or you're just interested in bugs and whatnot, it's a good post to check out. I don't personally find huge problems with Doomfist. This is an old post, by the way. I don't know if I said, it's from August 14th, so it's old. So approximately 9+ months now, and now we're looking at a lot later. I believe there was another post, or another reply to it earlier, maybe not. But this is an older post from August, and we just got a response from the community manager. So some stuff obviously has been changed since that post was made, and he talks about some of that. So it's an interesting thing to check out. So check it out if you're interested. Much later than I'm sure what people had hoped, but that's what is there. Next, the Overwatch League Season 2 schedule was released. There's a little article about it. Talks about some of the stuff. One of the things that I want to bring up, I made an entire video on the schedule, where I complained about it because I think the schedule is really poorly designed. So that's linked in the description and in the cards if you want to check that out. But there's this little post that they made that has some stuff that I didn't talk about in that video. One thing we knew already was the Week 1 matchups, and we know that the season opens up February 14th with a match between the Philadelphia Fusion and the London Spitfire at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can obviously figure that out as you will in terms of time zones. We knew that there was going to be the home games, basically, where 3 teams are going to have home games. We didn't know who it was going to be, and I don't even know if we knew it was going to be 3 teams or not. I just had that in my mind, but maybe we did know. But we now know what teams and when, and for most of the teams where, but for one we don't know yet. So the Dallas Fuel will be hosting, the Atlanta Reign will be hosting, and the Los Angeles Valiant will be hosting. So not too far from the normal LA, Blizzard Arena, but the LA Valiant are hosting. So the Dallas Fuel will be having their whole hosting gig from April 27th through the 28th. It'll be at the Allen Event Center in North Texas, and the Chengdu Hunters, Hangzhou Spark, Houston Outlaws, London Spitfire, Paris Eternal, LA Valiant, and Seoul Dynasty will all be there. The Atlanta Reign will be hosting on July 6th through 7th. The location has not been announced yet, but the Florida Mayhem, Guangzhou Charge, NYXL, Philadelphia Fusion, Shanghai Dragons, Toronto Defiant, and Washington Justice will all be playing in Atlanta. Obviously, Dallas will be playing in Dallas, and Atlanta will be playing in Atlanta as well. And then for the LA Valiant, it will be hosted from August 24th through the 25th at the Novo by Microsoft at LA Live. And the Valiant will host the Atlanta Reign, the Boston Uprising, the Dallas Fuel, the Hangzhou Spark, the LA Gladiators, the NYXL, the Vancouver Titans, the San Francisco Shock, and the Shanghai Dragons. Fun little thing. The Battle for LA, the last one of the season, will be during that home stand. So it'll be interesting to see this whole series. I'm interested to see what turns out. I wish there was one a little bit closer to me. I wish the Florida Mayhem hosted one, if it was like the April 27th through 28th one, even though that's right when I'm going to have final exams, but or even like the July 6th through 7th, or August 24th, 25th, that one was Florida, that would be nice. Or if July 6th through 7th was somewhere like not that far from where I live when I'm not at school, that would be nice. But I wish one of these was a lot closer than what they are, but it is what it is. Another thing that's a little interesting that I noticed that I don't think was talked about before. There's some changes, of course. But let's go over some of this stuff. We know that the teams joining the Atlantic Division, the teams joining the Pacific Division, we know they play a 28-match schedule. We knew the All-Star game was going to be between stages 2 and 3, that there's not going to be a stage 4 finals because it's going to be the play-in tournament. What we didn't know, at least I don't believe we knew that, is that in the playoffs, not the stage playoffs, not the play-in tournament, in the overall playoffs, the final 8 teams will compete for the league championship in a double elimination bracket. We did not know that. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know if it's just you play one game against the team, and then if you lose that one game, you go to the losers bracket. I don't know. I'm curious, but I don't believe we knew that. We got the prize pools. The winner for each stage playoffs gets $200,000, and the runner-up gets $100,000, while the 3rd and 4th place teams get $50,000 each, and 5th through 8th get $25,000 each. And then for the season playoffs prize pool, the champion gets $1.1 million, the runner-up gets $600,000, 3rd place gets $450,000, 4th place gets $350,000, 5th and 6th both get $300,000, and 7th and 8th both get $200,000. Plus, we saw the map pool for Stage 1 revealed. For the control maps, it will be Busan, Ilios, and Nepal. For hybrid, it will be Hollywood, Kings Row, and Numbani. For assault, it will be Temple of Anubis, Horizon Lunar Colony, and Volskaya Industries. And for escort, it'll be Rialto, Dorado, and Route 66. So Rialto and Busan making their Overwatch League debuts. Then there's some information on the Blizzard Arena Los Angeles and the Overwatch League on TV. For week 1, there'll be 3 games on Disney XD. There'll be one on Thursday, February 14th, 8:30 p.m. Pacific, the Hangzhou Spark and the Shanghai Dragons. I don't know why I lisped there for some reason, but anyway. Then on Sunday, February 17th, there will be 2 games at 12 p.m. Pacific, the Houston Outlaws against the Boston Uprising, and 1:30 p.m. Pacific, Philadelphia Fusion against the Atlanta Reign. So those 3 games will be on Disney XD for the opening week. That is everything for the schedule reveal, but there's still a couple more things. The first thing is that the other night, the Boston Uprising hosted a focus group for the 2020 season. This comes from the Overwatch League subreddit, link in the description to this post. But the post basically is that the Craft Analytics Group, who own the Boston Uprising, hosted a focus group for the 2020 season to kind of get an insight on how to best go about the furthering of the season style as it goes to Season 3, because they want to, of course, as they've revealed, they want to have teams play in their own cities and play home games. So during this focus group, there were a couple different questions and a couple different things, but there's some interesting little facts that we learned from this. One of them is that the teams expect to host 14 home games in the 2020 season. What that means is it seems like at the moment the teams expect it to once again be a 28-game season next season, where 14 of them are at home, 14 of them are on the road. That is pretty much in line with what your professional sports teams have, where you play half of your games at home, half your games on the road. The difference between what we have this season with like the home stands is that the team will only host their game, so it won't be like these events where you have a bunch of teams in one city, playing together. So they expect it to be just the team that's home and the team that's visiting, and that's it. And then there were some questions, a lot of questions about like the way they wanted the schedules or the stadium and all that kind of stuff. So that there's some interesting stuff here in location. So if you are a Boston Uprising fan and you didn't go to this focus group, there is still a just some stuff you can learn from this. But it's a very interesting thing to look at, especially with some of this information that they have shown. We knew that this was a plan, but it's going to be interesting, because to me this might scare off some potential new teams, because if you're trying to get home games started next season, you'd have to start looking into getting new teams early, because they're not going to have places to play, and they'd have to basically say, we have a place to play already. And I know Washington, D.C., for example, their mayor has talked about an esports and other kind of like recreational thing. I think the WNBA would have a team there, but it was also going to be a big esports arena. So I'm interested to see what we get. I'm interested to see where some of the things are. Like Florida, for example, they don't have a city that they represent. They're like Orlando, Miami, which is funny because Orlando and Miami are not that close to each other. So I'm curious if where they would put it, if they'd go more towards Orlando, which is a little bit more central to the state, or if they'd go Miami, which is a little bit more populous. This focus group kind of gives us a good idea into future Overwatch League stuff that we most likely won't be seeing for another year or so. So keep this in the back of your mind going forward. We might start seeing some leaks or some talk about this over the next year or so, but I don't expect much to come out of it anytime soon. Teams might reveal, hey, we're working on this arena in this place, in this location, in this city that obviously our team represents. For example, here with the Boston one, they talk about they have like a list of some spots that you could talk about where they might put it. So downtown Boston, North End, Cambridge, and Somerville. So that's just kind of an idea. So there would be areas where they have it, and obviously some teams already have a very big local presence. I know the New York Excelsior are very, very, very big in New York in keeping things very local, and they do a good job with that. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops in the future. I'm interested to see where we go with some of these teams expanding and growing their base in the cities. So it'll be cool, but that's that. Finally, we have one last story, which is technically not an Overwatch story, but it does have an impact on Overwatch. So I want to talk about it, and this has to do with Heroes of the Storm. You've probably already heard about this, but if you have not, I will read you some of this post. This comes from December 13th. The title is just Heroes of the Storm news. We can skip some of this stuff, but I'll read you the interesting stuff. Over the past several years, the work of evaluating our development processes and making hard decisions has led to new games and other products that we are proud of. We now have more live games and unannounced projects than at any point in the company's history. We are also at a point where we need to take some of our talented developers and bring their skills to other projects. As a result, we've made the difficult decision to shift some developers from Heroes of the Storm to other teams, and we're excited to see the passion, knowledge, and experience that they'll bring to those projects. This isn't the first time we've had to make tough choices like this. Games like Diablo 2, World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, Overwatch, and more would not exist had we not made similar decisions in the past. And then it goes on to another paragraph just kind of talking about Heroes of the Storm and that they're still going to support the game and add new content. But then it says, we've also evaluated our plans around Heroes esports, and after looking at all of our priorities and options in light of the change of the game, the Heroes Global Championship and Heroes of the Dorm will not return in 2019. This is another very difficult decision for us to make. The love that the community has for these programs is deeply felt by everyone who works on them, but we ultimately feel this is the right decision versus moving forward in a way that would not meet the standards that players and fans have come to expect. And then they talk about how they're excited about future stuff, that these decisions are tough, and then signed by J. Allen Brack and Ray Gresco. J. Allen Brack is the president of Blizzard Entertainment, the recent one, and Ray Gresco is, I don't know exactly what he does. I think he's just one of the head developers on just in the group. I think just in Blizzard, he's one of like the top guys. So yeah, what does this mean for Overwatch? Obviously, because Heroes of the Storm is not Overwatch, so the game itself is not really being hurt in any way by the Heroes of the Storm cancellation. But it means some stuff for the esports side, and also means some stuff for game development side. Obviously, they said that they're taking developers off of Heroes of the Storm and moving them to other projects. Now, we don't know what projects they're being moved to. I don't think it's out of question to believe that some of the Heroes developers are moved to Overwatch. I wouldn't be surprised if Overwatch is Blizzard's baby right now, of the things that have been, released, announced and released. Right, it's kind of the most recent title that they have that's brand new. It's their newest IP that's been released. I believe it's still the newest one. So I think that there's a good chance that Overwatch is, of course, going to get some developers as a result of this. Now, we don't know if that's the case. The other thing, of course, with esports is if the Heroes Championship is gone, that means a lot of potential money for esports is going to be spread throughout the other sports. Heroes of the Storm had the largest prize pool at BlizzCon this past year. And my guess is the reason for that was to try to take people away from your League of Legends and your Dota 2 and focus on Heroes of the Storm. And you could kind of build Heroes of the Storm up to have all this money. But obviously Heroes of the Storm is not and has never been and will never be as popular as League of Legends or anything like that. And they knew that, and that's obviously why they made this move, because it wasn't as big. But they are going to keep developing the game and working on some of its content and whatnot. But it's interesting. So I don't know what impact this will have on Overwatch directly. Only, I know it will have some impact. It will do something, right? There will be changes to Overwatch in some form. Whether it be that it gets more development, and now we get to see more story material or something coming soon, or we just get to see more things being developed. Maybe we get, maybe Overwatch is planning on speeding up the hero release calendar, so we're getting more than 3 heroes a year. Who knows? Maybe we're getting 4 heroes a year now. Who knows? It's interesting to see, though, that there are going to be changes within Blizzard as a whole. And of course, there's unannounced projects, so who knows, maybe 90% of the heroes team that was moved to unannounced projects. It'll be interesting to see, though. I'm just curious to see how the Heroes of the Storm kind of life pans out from here on out. I'm not a huge fan of Heroes of the Storm. I'm not a huge fan of League of Legends, not a huge fan of Dota 2. That's just not my style of game, but I mean, it's sad, of course, to see that this happen. I mean, it's worst, I think, for the esports community, because if you're a caster or a player, you're kind of out of a job. I mean, you're not out of a job, obviously, because there can still be Heroes of the Storm events, just not Blizzard sanctioned events, basically, or not Blizzard run events. So it's an interesting shakeup, and it will definitely have ramifications, and will definitely have an impact on Blizzard as a whole. But we'll have to wait and see what those changes and impacts are. But that is everything I have for this video. Went a little bit longer than I anticipated, but that's alright. Some big stuff to talk about today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. It means a lot. I don't know what to say, so just thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Have a happy holidays. All the good stuff. See you later.